Hi everybody, welcome to Talking Travel with Wendy. Today I have Mike and Amy with Getting There with Mike and Amy.
That's right.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going to talk about nomadic traveling and their podcast and website and a little bit about their travels.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for connecting and being the person that gave us the eyeballs whenever we were standing in front of the doorway, right? When we first met. You were our first friend we made at Podfest
We're
here.
here at Podfest and we met being rebels. I know that's hard to believe.
I know.
Yeah, right.
Trying to get in too soon. Who knew?
So how did you guys meet?
So we met 3 years ago in a conference in Dallas.
Yeah.
It was a business conference.
Yeah.
Through a mutual friend. He sat right behind me. I was like, who is that guy? I got to know him. You know, it's one of those instant connections like, okay.
Yeah. I talk very passionately about food at all times, and I never stop.
That's
Or about
true.
travel. And then she's just like, hey, I like talking about food and travel, and so we
Yeah.
connected,
Yeah, and
very
I,
cool.
and I was eating really healthy at that time, and I was struggling a little bit with the conference food, and he's like, well, let's, he was helping me out.
Yeah.
It was kind of
Very
nice.
cool. Very cool. But you've kept in touch.
Yeah.
And now you've created.
Yeah.
Yeah, we created the podcast. I was throwing it out there for probably a year or two, like, man, if I just had someone that could do the technical side, it sure would be great. Because that's like my tip for finding podcasts, or for doing anything in life. I just keep throwing it out there until someone hears me that matters.
Okay.
And that matters to that. You know,
Right.
everybody
right,
matters.
right. And the
Yeah.
connection.
And then she's like, I have no desire to do a podcast, but I know I need to learn how to for her business.
Yes.
And she knows all the tech side.
I do. So I was like, well, I can do the tech side if you can help me with the people side.
Well, that is
So I thought that would be a really great combo. And I'm like, I be honest, I was a little bit afraid of my voice. So I was like, Mike has a great voice. He's easy to talk to.
I sure do have a good voice,
You
huh?
do.
Listen to this.
I'm like,
totally want to listen to
like
it.
really nice, manly voice. So I thought, what a great combo we could make. And we both love to travel.
Yeah.
And we both kind of we want abnormal lifestyles
Right.
that most people think of a traditional lifestyle.
Right.
So-
So, talk to my listeners more about nomadic traveling and what that is, because
Yeah.
I know a lot of them have no clue.
Yeah.
Probably heard it, but
Yeah, and there's huge varying levels of this. Like, there's the
Yes.
guys that would look at us and say,
We're not doing it.
you only travel for 2 weeks at a time, or you only do it for 3 months at a time. And like they will stay in hostels and do all these things. It's different for everybody. My
Yes.
wife and I, we want to be able to live a nomadic lifestyle and just go somewhere for 3 to 5 months, learn the culture,
Yes.
but still work. We want to be able to do that.
Yes.
Sure.
And build habits in that area. That's what I like so much. Like, if you're
Yeah.
there long enough that you start grocery shopping and you
Yeah.
find this grocery store has this market has that. I love that.
well, and we were talking about you really want to immerse yourself in the culture,
Yeah.
and you want to be there long enough where you know what their favorite foods
Yeah.
are and where their
Yeah.
pub is.
Yeah.
And you also want to make sure, like, when you're traveling a lot, like, where can you send things at? Like, Amazon's fantastic when you're living a nomadic lifestyle, and you don't know where you're going to find the same things you want.
Yeah.
So do they deliver? How do they deliver? Especially if you're in a condo, some don't go right to your home. Like,
Oh.
you have to go to the rental place or something, so you have to find that information out beforehand.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have gotten food actually delivered from Costco this time, and it is now sent back.
Oh,
Because they
okay.
forgot to put her condo number on
Oh,
it.
that's the
no.
worst.
Yeah. So, but yeah, one thing we've learned over the years too is you have to learn to be uncomfortable too. Because you don't know what you're going to expect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially when it's short periods of time, like we go for a month at a time and we go to a next condo for the next month, we're like, okay, we just got comfortable. We're all packing up and we're starting this new environment now.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
Yep.
That bed over there was way better than this one,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So me and my husband have learned we're learning, I'm faster at adapting than he is. So he's learning to adapt quicker and quicker as
Sure.
we do this. So the more you do it, and usually I would recommend doing it in short bursts at first to see if you can handle the quick changes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's not always that easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, what is your dream location?
to live or to explore, to visit.
Well, if you want to live there, you can.
Oh God, I want to
That's
live.
the whole point. Is
I want to live
visiting
everywhere.
places to see if you want to live there.
Yes.
That's always what I do when I'm going.
Well, my husband is big on that.
We
Actually,
come-
he's got a few YouTube channels. He just
Yeah.
circles in and says,
Yes.
We come home and we just go like, could we actually live there?
Right,
It was great, but not that great. You
Yes,
know?
there are those places where you're like, no way. Love visiting there. Like, I love Boston.
Yeah.
Will I live there? No.
I came home from Israel and I said I will go there.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I came home from Israel, it was I could live there.
yeah.
And I don't know why.
What you said you were in the Negev?
Negev Desert.
Negev
I've never
Desert.
felt more at home in my life than in that moment in the Negev Desert in a Bedouin tent village. Like,
Oh, wow.
no one in my family could ever say that sentence. And like, I'm a weirdo for being able to say that sentence in my area, but like,
But how did your wife like the desert?
not as much. She loved the Mediterranean.
We
That's
went
where
to
I would
Eilat.
love.
And Eilat in Israel.
Oh, yeah.
It's right at the Jordanian border. We actually
Ah.
crossed over into Jordan.
Dream spot.
Yeah.
There was,
Jordan,
yeah.
Petra.
Petra.
We've
yes.
talked about that. We're
Yeah.
like, that was
we had
super
an
cool.
unforgettable experience on a tour bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Do you want to tell?
It was so one, we learned that it's not easy to cross that border
No.
if you're any other nationality other than Jordanian or Israeli.
Yeah.
And two, we got stopped at the border and our passports confiscated for a while. It's all in my blog.
Nice.
And I almost paid $350 for a skirt. Yes, but I was able to get my money back.
Yeah.
Because I'm from New York, and that's how we roll.
Yeah. That's right. You don't mess around. We did have very tough time in the airport in New York City getting to Israel.
Oh, really?
We had a very last minute booking from our tour guide that booked us. It was like way last minute. I'm talking the day before, and they questioned us for so long. They took us in a separate room, took our bags away from us.
Oh my
I never
goodness.
felt so violated in my life. But the trip was so good that I forget all about that.
Yeah.
So it was horrible.
Oh, and in the Mediterranean down at the Eilat, it was hot and warm, and I want to
Yeah.
say we went in like March. So
Yeah.
And that's
okay.
the Mediterranean is where I want to go so bad.
Yeah.
I want to go to Greece.
Yeah.
That's hopefully I get to go this fall, but that's why we sold our house.
Yeah.
You know, we sold our house in Fargo, and we never bought another house. We just didn't want that burden because it is a little
That
bit
is
harder.
so cool.
Yeah, it's harder to
Right, that's
leave.
like-
Yeah,
I know most people are like, "How did you do that?" I'm like,
we just did.
Yeah.
it took us 2 years to be able to do it, though.
Right.
You start telling yourself,
Yes.
Yeah.
we could never do that, but we want to.
Yes.
Sounds
And then
like you
that
set
word
goals.
changes to, I think we're going to be able to do this someday.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you go, man, I can't believe we haven't done this yet. We better get on this.
Yeah.
And then you do it.
We literally looked at houses to buy where we were staying, and we called a realtor while we were down in Florida. We're like, how fast can we get our house on the market? You know, seriously, we were that serious about leaving because up northern Minnesota, North Dakota is cold, so we don't want to be there.
Yeah.
But we couldn't do it. We had to come back. We were like, wait, we got to slow this down just a little bit. It's like, let's be a little smarter
Yeah.
here. But yeah.
But it sounds like you had a plan,
Yeah.
and you're good with numbers, and so
Yeah.
you said, okay, in this amount of time, we're going to take these steps to
Yeah.
get to it. So again, like goal setting and
Yeah,
it
little by
is
little.
attainable.
Yeah, you just make those little small changes every time you go somewhere or you explore a little something
Yeah.
different, and you start to see what you want.
I think that's our big goal with our podcast is to let people know that you don't. It's different variations of what is going to be pushing you just enough, but making you super excited. Like, what's that thing that you look at other
The
people and you
passion.
go, oh, I wish I could do what they do.
Absolutely.
So do it.
Do
Just
it.
find your way of doing it. So like,
Yeah,
I didn't ever think I could really be healthy. I was 60 pounds overweight, and I didn't know that I could actually do it. And it happened one day. And then all of a sudden it was easy. And I took that same thing and put it into the rest of my life. And I just know that if I keep at something long enough, I'll find the right way.
Right.
So you just have to look at it and go, so how can I do what they're doing in my own way? And like, that's what we want to, like, it is about travel, but she's a business coach, I'm a health coach.
Yes.
Like, that's also where we come together.
Yeah.
Health coaches are terrible at business. If I hang out with Amy long enough, I'm going to get better at it. So,
and I always need the reminder about food.
I live in a community full of artists who
Yeah.
are also
And I come from the creative world. I get that.
Yeah, so like we just want to let people know if you're craving that travel, if you're craving something, you can do it. Like just find your way.
And do it, and don't be afraid to try. Because I know for a long time we got a lot of slack from a lot of family members for just
In different ways.
And then they're like, you can't do that. I don't know how many times we heard you can't do that.
But
and every time I heard it, I was like,
anxiety
why can't
manifesting
I?
itself onto you.
Yeah.
That, and that's another thing. Like sometimes I struggle with is like people, they project onto you because they can't see how that's manageable or doable.
Yep.
But they're not you,
right?
You know.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. And my husband's just like, he has a lot of back pain, so being in the cold really is painful for him.
Sure.
So the warmth, the sun is almost like a medical necessity.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go to Arizona because like everybody from North Dakota goes to Arizona.
You're just gonna be a rebel.
I know. I'm like, I don't want to go.
I'm not going to Arizona.
I know. And I don't want to go to the desert. I want something. I want
sure
water.
You'll go visit.
Yeah.
I do.
Zion's very pretty.
It's very pretty.
My wife does love Arizona. She's been there twice for work.
Yeah.
So she would be a desert person in that sense.
There.
So,
You
but
just need a little more greener
nothing to
desert.
give. There was nothing. There's a tent and camels.
Yes.
No, ixnay on the desert.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm a water person, so the desert was like,
Yeah.
it's pretty.
Yeah,
But
if
it didn't appeal
if you
to
were, like,
me.
in Pensacola area.
Yeah,
The
and white
desert
sandy
was like,
beaches.
no,
I'm like,
no.
this is awesome. Yeah, that's why the Mediterranean, like water.
Super cool.
I
Yeah.
want water.
Okay, so nomadic traveling. We talked about travel hacks,
Yes.
and you want to share some?
Yeah. So first, can we touch on? I love
yes.
sharing mistakes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can we touch on what happened to us?
Yes.
So
oh wait,
we
in the desert?
right now.
Just what
What happened to us just now before we started recording?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love sharing stuff because like guys, we're not perfect. Like
No.
we didn't have a microphone on for a whole half-hour podcast. So this is our
And then
second
we lost,
round.
and then we lost our video too.
Yeah. So we're doing this again. So if we have
Because we can.
if we have so much energy, that's why, because we already spent it all. So, but no.
I feel a little petered.
But what was the question again? I apologize.
Travel hacks.
Travel hacks. So we go real high end on travel hacks. My wife and I have all these different things we do, but then we also love to share the free ones because not everybody's going to do the crazy stuff. I love hacking jet lag because jet lag can take a day, 2-3 days out of your travel.
Yes.
And you don't have that much if it's a 5-day trip. So get your circadian rhythm fixed as fast as you can. So there's when you touch the earth, bare feet on the ground, there is a Schumann resonance that actually it comes back and forth. We steal electrons from the earth, which is the same way a battery charges.
Yeah.
We charge ourselves.
Yeah.
But your body syncs up with the location you're at. If it's 4 p.m. in Germany, there's the same resonance just about as 4 p.m. in New York City.
Sure.
So if you're coming from New York and you know put your feet on the ground as soon as you get out of the airport if possible. Go stand next to a tree. The trees radiate grounding and earthing. It's these negative electrons. It radiates it. You actually can ground that way, and it sets your rhythm. Then the next thing is watch the sunrise first thing in the morning as best you can. Get up and watch that sunrise. That sets your circadian rhythm as well.
That's super cool.
Also, do your best to fast while you fly and have your first meal at a mealtime in the new location. That sets your digestive circadian rhythm.
That too.
Those 3 things alone will give you 1 or 2 days back on your vacation.
Yeah, and don't when I'm flying to Europe, I also tell people try to get on their schedule as soon as possible. And I realize like that first day you might need a nap for like 30 minutes to an hour, but do not sleep longer than that.
And you're gonna want the free wine on the plane.
Yes.
Avoid the wine on the
Yes,
plane. Avoid the food on the plane because the inflammation will make the jet lag worse, and it'll give you cankles.
Yes.
Cankles will kill.
Yeah.
We
And,
have
I mean,
deadly
even
cankle stories.
Even with the compression socks.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I got off
Yeah.
my last flight back from Europe, and I had the compression socks, but my legs look like little cottage cheese.
Yeah. How hard are they to get on?
I know.
Oh my goodness, that's like a battle.
It even happens when you come to the south and eat all the
Yeah.
salt down here. I even did that traveling. I had to stop early driving home because my feet were so swollen last year. I was like, I gotta stop driving. It hurts.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's like,
You know, and Mike's really good at the travel hacks when it comes to like traveling on a plane. I guess if I were playing for a business, try to get your equipment as small as possible. And limit what you bring. Like even I have an Apple, but I'm considering even smaller tablets.
Okay.
So I don't have to
Like the
carry
iPad or-
or something smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do a
So-
Chromebook. It's way less powerful, but you can
okay.
do a lot with the Chromebook.
Yeah, just something.
That's a hack right there.
Yeah.
So now as
Yeah.
we're planning our next purchase, because our computers are getting old, we're looking smaller, more
Okay.
efficient.
Right.
What can we do to reduce the weight
Yeah.
of our,
Yeah.
of our business
Our
equipment?
friend said make everything cloud-based.
Yeah, and everything
everything
cloud-based.
cloud-based.
Oh, what a
So,
great idea.
yeah.
That's another hack.
Yes, and I have an entire
I'm
virtual
gonna put that up
team.
there.
Yeah.
Exactly. I run a virtual team in my business for marketing. And everything's virtual. The only reason I had to bring a printer was because of taxes. I literally had to have it to print out 3 forms.
Right.
I was like,
They do that here, except it's $45.
I know,
page.
and I was like,
I'm
I
just
don't want to
kidding.
go somewhere to find an Office Max to sign some paperwork.
We're staying.
It is beautiful, by
It
the
is
way.
absolutely
It is
gorgeous.
Holy
beautiful.
cow.
We're
Orlando.
taking more video.
Yeah.
But the best thing is when you're traveling by car, you can travel a lot more. And I was telling in our last one, one thing I always bring with me is that sharp knife. And we were talking
Yeah.
about the story of Mike always has. He bought
I buy my food everywhere I
Yeah.
go. We get Airbnbs so we can cook stuff because I have food intolerances, big time.
Yeah.
And it's not going to kill me. It just doesn't make me feel perfect. I love feeling the best I can. So I get podcasting.
That's
Okay.
okay.
So
Click, click,
I
click.
yeah right. And who cares if he's talking behind us, right? So I get
It'll make a very
continue.
funny
Yeah.
video.
I get
We'll just get closer to the
yeah,
mic.
I will order or I'll buy like a leg of lamb or chicken thighs, and I'll cut the leg of lamb up, and then instead of paying $25 for a steak at a restaurant, I now have a $7 piece of steak
Yeah.
that was amazing
Yeah.
and cooked perfectly every time I want one.
Except for in this kitchen, there of course we flew, so
No sharp
nobody could
knife.
bring a knife. And watching Mike just try to cut this lamb,
just
and
sawing
he's
away with
like
this
trying
tiny-
and he's trying.
It's
and
like, give me a butter knife, it'll
it's
be
kind of
sharp.
like pulling it apart more than actually cutting it.
But yeah,
So that's a really good
Yeah.
thing most people don't think about, because the knives are never sharp, and
Right.
there's no way
Yeah.
to sharpen them.
Right.
And if you do a lot of cooking, like both of us do in a condo, that's kind of essential.
Mm-hmm.
I bring
Well,
a
and
lot
then
of
something
kitchen
you
stuff.
said last time too is that if you're traveling by car,
yeah.
You can bring as
Pack
much as
it
you
all.
want.
We
I
went to
even-
Niagara on the Lake and took our own stainless steel pots.
Yep.
And let me just say, thank you, Staybridge, for having stainless steel pots and pans. That was incredible.
Really?
I could
Yeah.
not
Awesome.
believe that. So we
Awesome.
got to keep ours clean.
Yeah, there you
I,
go.
I bring my own blender. I bring my own.
Yeah.
I brought my own food processor. I mean, I bring as much as I can. I even bought a
Your Dutch
topper.
oven.
Yeah, I did bring a Dutch
Awesome.
oven. Yeah. So I mean, I bring a lot of kitchen
Yeah.
stuff with me.
That's cool.
But if I'm in a plane, I never
Amazing.
check luggage, because the beauty and stress-free situations that you're in when you step off the plane and walk right to a car,
yes.
that's heaven.
Yeah.
That takes an hour and a half out of your travel time.
Yeah.
And so like pack as light as you can. It's stressful when you're packing, but I have a book bag size thing from eBags that folds up like a suitcase. Less than half of that is clothing. I packed so many clothes on this trip. I've worn 2 shirts and a pair of jeans so far.
Right. And
And-
I
and
always
that's
tell people,
one half.
don't freak out. No one's going to see you more than once or twice. And-
Yeah.
Or remember, especially with
And-
conference when you see so many people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what they're wearing. And nobody is going to walk by and say, gosh, that's like the...
The third time you wore that shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
No, nobody's gonna care. And
Watch the button, huh?
Is it still on? Is it
Yes,
still
it's still on. Okay. Guys, we had so many fun mistakes. It was so good.
I'm so glad this is a podcasting, learning podcast.
I know, right? We can do a presentation on
I
this
know.
afterwards now.
You're going to be like, Start Ugly? We did.
That's
We
right.
did
That's
it.
right. That's a good point, right?
And
That's
the other
terrific.
thing too is if you're trying to start small, another good thing is to write down what you're gonna bring. Like Mike's got it down pat. Like he knows exactly what he's gonna pack.
I never write my list down though. Why do
But
I
you-
throw it away every time? I write it down and I chuck the list out.
That's why you make a spreadsheet.
I know.
A Google spreadsheet. Come on.
I'm a paper guy.
He tells me all the time. He's like, write that down. And like the whole weekend, I'm like, okay.
She'll read it and remind me. I won't ever look at it.
She was like, that was a good idea.
I know.
What did I say to write down?
I know. And so
You could remind him later. And
Yeah.
be like, yeah, you told me to save that.
I'm a
remember?"
sticky note guy. So she'll tell me, Mike, put this on a sticky note. Put it on. Annoy your wife with all your sticky notes.
yeah, I should do.
Put them out there.
But yeah,
Super cool.
and I actually even have bins at home that I have, and I just put it back in there, like the things I use only for travel.
Okay.
So when I just go out
That's
to
really
travel, I
smart.
pull it out, and I just like, okay, here's all the stuff I already have packed and ready to go, and then I just keep adding to it. And
Yeah.
I pack 3-4 days beforehand, 5 days if I can, because this year I live in Minnesota. There was a huge storm that was coming through, that whole one that went through the whole East Coast and all the way through the middle, that ice
Tennessee.
storm.
Yeah.
I was like, we were supposed to go through that. And I was like, hey, we're packed. Partially. We that night decided we're leaving the next morning. We got up, we packed the rest of the car, we loaded up, and we left before the storm came.
Yeah.
So you drove here?
I drove here. Yeah, I drive down every year. It takes 3 days, but it does work.
Yeah.
So I
She
have
did
a
fly
car.
in from
I did fly in from
Pensacola.
Pensacola.
Okay.
And
So-
ironically, I paid more than anybody else. And I flew from Florida to Florida. I was like, what the heck? I'm like, this is
Sometimes
insane.
they're just
Yeah.
those are.
We
So-
have so many more tips.
We do.
Okay, so people can find you
Yeah.
soon.
Yes.
Yeah, we are
Yeah.
live. We have 5 episodes live right
Okay.
now, and we're always doing more. We try to do we're doing 2 a month right now.
We're trying to do 2 a month,
I
yeah.
if we'll never go lower than that, but sometimes we might start throwing more in than that.
Okay.
But it'll never be less than 2 a month.
Yeah, we have about
Getting
5
there with
left.
Mike and Amy.
Getting there with
Mike.
one G.
Yep.
Okay.
Getting.
Getting.
We were
Getting.
so proud of it. Getting.
Yeah. It's not getting. It's getting.
Getting. Getting there with Mike and Amy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll have the links below.
Yeah.
To click on and you mentioned some equipment, so if you've got some Amazon affiliates too.
Oh, equipment for like our e-bags and stuff like. Yeah, we'll send you some links for the show notes. Yeah. So very
for
cool.
sure.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me here today at Talking Travel with Wendy on the veranda of the Marriott.
That's right.
In Orlando, Florida. We have had so much fun. I hope you've heard some useful tips today, heard us giggle and laugh about learning how to podcast professionally.
Yeah.
But thank you guys really.
Yeah, thank you. It's a
This was
pleasure.
fun.
Yeah.